As many of you know, I've been talking a lot about doing an all carnivore diet lately, and I want to talk about the results. I've been doing it for just over a month, and spoiler alert, I'm going to keep doing it because I'm pretty fired up and it's been a little mind blowing how well it works and how misinformed we've been, at least over my lifetime. I'm going to read some metrics. So carnivore diet, month 1 results. I did an InBody scan at my gym, one of those you sit on, it scans your body fat, muscle, and all the other factors. And let's see. Weight-wise, there's been no change. Pretty much 166, still 166. Kind of went up to 171 about by week 3 and kept just gaining. And then it kind of all ripped off in the last week, which has been kind of interesting. Your body goes through a bit of a period where you become fat adapted. Basically, you're taking in 65, 70% fats and the rest in proteins and no carbs, and essentially using the fats for energy versus carbs. And glucose and whatnot. So it shifts, but in that shifting, it has to get adapted. And then I think along the way, it starts storing fat and holding on to the energy to use it for energy throughout the day. And now it's realized, okay, this is how we operate. And now it's just burning off the fat and it doesn't have to hold on to the reserve. So fat's down 1.2%. Since I started, went from 6.2 to 5.0 this weekend. But that went up to 7.1%, which I was like, oh, maybe this is not a great diet because I just kept gaining. But I think that was the adapted period. But it didn't matter. I felt great and I looked great and didn't feel like I was missing anything. So I think your body needs that, holds on to what it needs. And then lean muscle mass, it basically increased by 1.6%, going from 89.7 pounds to 91.3 pounds of lean muscle mass. I'll attach the scan results and you can see all these. But basically, I've been trying to put on 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of muscle for a long time, actually, like 6+ months, and haven't been able to do that. And I did that in this month by doing the carnivore diet. Now, I think with that, you increase your protein intake, and so that helps out. But who knows? And then I use a Whoop to track a lot of metrics and my sleep and throughout the day. And basically, over the last month, my heart rate variability went, what did it do? Is it had a 44% increase. You want a high HRV, basically that shows that your body's rested and repaired and ready for action the next day. So it went from 43 average to 63 average over the last month. So significant increase in HRV. And resting heart rate went down 7% from 63 to 59 beats per minute. So that's great. Getting easier, less work on the body, less intensity for the heart to pump every day definitely is a important thing in life. Sleep decreased by 1%, not as ideal, but not really significant, down from 87% efficiency to 85%, according to Whoop. But I still average 3.5 hours a night of deep and REM sleep combined, so completely fine on the restorative sleep piece. General anecdotal observations. Energy levels increased, much higher and more consistent. It just felt like I had better energy at all times, and then have the ups and downs that you get from sugar spike, come off, glucose, insulin, riding that roller coaster all day, and also no hunger cravings, very little, and no sugar cravings. People keep asking me, you crave sugar? I'm like, not interested at all. You're eating lots of fats and you're eating lots of like red meat and salmon, all these things. You're not craving sugar, so your body looks for fats and prefers that. And you can also eat until you're full whenever you want. Not calorie counting, just massively eat a bunch, and then your body will tell you when you're hungry and when to eat again. I stopped doing intermittent fasting, all that. Brain fog, memory sharpness, I've seen significant improvement in those areas. It's hard to I know it's just anecdotal. I don't know how to prove that. It's just, I feel clearer, sharper all the time now, and I'm pretty happy about that and can't wait to see where this goes. And why is that? I mean, obviously taking out all the sugars. With that goes inflammation, bringing down inflammation in your body. Everything just starts to operate properly and clears out some of that fog from your brain. My pull-up max went from 48 to 52. Definitely more strength. All my benchmarks, we do benchmarks every 2 months at 45, and all of mine this time had increased. So still continue to grow strength throughout all of this, as well as I thought it was interesting, a sense of smell and eyesight improved. Definitely started smelling, garlic smells, and then picking coal up from football. All the boys in the back, you smell the smells on the way home in the cars, all those things. But things I didn't notice before, now I'm really noticing. The same with like eyesight, and the reading small things seems much clearer all of a sudden. So I don't know what that's all about, but we're pretty excited about that. Lab tests, I basically just took a big 50 panel biomarker test. We'll have the results in a week or two. I'm excited for that. That'll give us some of the cholesterol and some of the other things I think we're more interested in seeing. But I did go to UW and do my monthly lab draws. And with those, there was no significant change. All the red blood cells, white blood cells, everything was in the right levels. All the major markers seemed great. And as far as I could tell, there was nothing good or bad that had changed. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with glucose and insulin levels when I get the results from my big blood test, as well as, cholesterol. The first question everyone has for me, carnivore diet is, well, what about cholesterol? You're going to die. And the reality is, that's not true. Cholesterol is mostly a non-issue. I've gone kind of deep on the research on this thing, and I'll actually provide a link to, some people that have a lot more data and facts and can back us up. But I think the reality is we were misinformed on purpose, sadly, and that there's no association between cholesterol and heart disease, and we need to reconsider cholesterol. Basically should have been an issue in the first place. We now know that as cholesterol goes down, heart disease actually goes up. You need cholesterol. A certain amount of cholesterol, your body uses it. Every cell is made of it. You use it for a lot of different precursors to make vitamin D and other important hormonal things in your body. We basically need to encourage eating more saturated fats and cholesterol and discourage sugars and carbohydrates. These are the real problems. Basically, in the last 40 years, they've made some major changes. In 1977, they changed the guidelines and they said cholesterol, there could be a correlation, not a causation, correlation with cholesterol and heart disease. And that was put on basically and paid for by the sugar industries and big food to push you that direction. So what happened, the Americans stopped eating red meat and whatnot at 33% less, and cholesterol at 32% decrease, started eating more fruits, vegetables, and grains. And what happened? Heart disease rates tripled. So if that's the case, why would that ever happen? Of course, cholesterol is not the issue. If you lower cholesterol, and heart disease goes up by 3 times. But also obesity, heart disease, autism, diabetes, stroke, Parkinson's, autoimmune diseases. These things have all increased exponentially right after those changes were made. So there's a lot of documentation proof that was bought and paid for by those industries, and we've been duped, sadly. But reality is, I've been eating red meat, butter, salt, and eggs primarily, and water. And I feel amazing. I feel like my skin, everything's healthier. There's just been zero downside. And so I think as I push all carbs and sugars and whatnot out of my body, it's only going to improve. Now, I didn't have a lot of those in my diet in the first place, but good vegetables and fruits and whatnot. But even with all those, I'm seeing some pretty positive gains in such a short period of time. So I can't imagine if you're someone who's eating a lot of processed food, sugary drinks, all these heavy sugars, fructose, and processed foods with all of the bad things in it, that the amount of change you would feel in a minute or in a month of doing this would probably be much more significant than mine. And the clarity, if you have any joint pains or autoimmune diseases, that's the type of thing that can help really clear that up. So if you're battling with any of those things, maybe give this a shot. But I'll produce the reports that kind of back up what I'm talking about and some links. But for the most part, I just wanted to share that the experience for me has been pretty awesome. And I really like just eating steaks and burgers and that type of food, a lot of eggs most days. And it makes my meal planning very easy. But I think for most, it sounds a little crazy, and we'll see. Long term, maybe I won't be able to sustain this, or I'll do it, start adding in, a handful of smaller things. But for at least the next 3 months, I'm going to pretty much go all in on this and really see what kind of shifts and changes occur and try to build that habit and eliminate some of the others. So that's all I have.